Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is 𝐉𝐈𝐒𝐜. Today I want to tell you a story about Sleeping Beauty. But first, I want to inform you that I wear Aurora's outfit when she was just an ordinary girl. Once upon a time, in a distant, lovely place, there was a kingdom, and it was ruled by king named Stefan. He is good and generous man whose greatest sorrow was that he and his lovely queen had no child. After years of longing, a princess was born to them and became her parents' greatest joy. They chose her name as Aurora, which means the dawn, because she brought sunshine to their hearts. When the day of the baby princess christening, they set apart as a holiday. Every human being in the country was invited by a royal proclamation, cried aloud. And 3 golden invitations were sent by a royal proclamation to the 3 good fairies, of the land. It was indeed a happy day for King Stefan and his queen, but it was really the happiest day for them, and all their dreams became true with a fanfare of trumpets, and a herald announced the arrival of 3 good fairies, which is Mistress Flora, Fauna, and Meriwether. Mrs. Fauna will present her first gift. She gave the princess happiness. Mistress Meriwether came second. She gave the princess beauty. And then beauty is the second gift. The crowd murmured happily, but happy voice was cut short by a burst of evil laughter. The Mistress Maleficent, the dark fairies, appeared. Dear me, I'm afraid I startled you, did I? And I see everyone else is here. And from the highest to the lowest. And then Maleficent came towards the king and queen and said, "Now tell me, why wasn't I invited to this charming ceremony?" Maleficent hissed. "You know quite well," the king replied. "Depending on his dignity of his quacking heart, I command you to leave." And Maleficent said, "Ha! First you insult me and then you command? Do you think I am one of your pleasant ramble? Why at one stroke I could "Please, Excellency," begged the queen. "I ask you for the sake of our child, please leave us in peace," begged the queen. "I shall go, but first let me see the princess," said Maleficent. She came towards the cradle and started giving the baby princess blessing. Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger. With a spindle on a spinning wheel and die. Maleficent said. And then a burst flame and smoke were toured all flooded in the room, and she vanished quietly. Days passed. She's 60 now. She grown into a beautiful princess. She met a little old woman, and the little old woman was very friendly, and here she told a story about her true love. The little old woman was Maleficent in disgust. "Make wish, any wish dearest to your heart," said the little woman to the little old woman. And then you prick your finger in this spindle of spinning wheel, and all your problems will be solved, said the little old woman to Aurora. Of course, Aurora closed her eyes and touched the spindle, and then she lay deep in magic sleep. Years passed. Princess Aurora had been asleep for 100 years. Then Prince King approached the kingdom. He saw a beautiful sleeping princess, and then he kissed, and then the curse was broken, and then she wake up, and it wasn't in that place, and they happily ever after because they're truly love. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Raisa. Can you have this?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little country girl. Her mother made her a Little Red Riding Hood. Everybody called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother asked her to go to see her grandmother. "Go, my dear, see how your grandmother is doing, for I hear she has been very ill." Little Red Riding Hood set out immediately. As she was walking through the woods, she met with a wolf. The wolf asked where she was going. "I'm going to see my grandmother," she said to the wolf. "Does she live far off?" the wolf asked. "She lives just beyond that mill," she pointed towards the mill. Not long after, the wolf arrived at the grandmother's house. She knocked on the door. Tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" said the grandmother. "It's me, your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf, faking her voice. The grandmother called out, "Pull the string and the latch will go up." The wolf pulled the string and the door opened. He immediately fell upon the woman and ate her up. He then shut the door, disguised himself as the grandmother, and got into her grandmother's bed, where he covered himself with the blanket. Waiting for Little Red Riding Hood to come, the Little Red Riding Hood came not long afterwards and knocked at the door. Tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" said the wolf. "It's me, your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood," door opened, she walked inside the house and towards her grandmother's bed, where she fell upon a figure who looked quite weird. But she chalked it up to her grandmother's illness. "Grandmother, what big arms you have," she said. "All the better to hug you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my love." "Grandmother, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with, my child." "Grandmother, what big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you up with," the wolf said, standing up, revealing his identity to the little Red Riding Hood and looming over her. Fortunately, a hunter was passing by and heard the wolf. He immediately recognized who he was, and he ran over to the window. He took out a gun, pointed at the wolf, and that was the end of the wolf. The hunter took Little Red Riding Hood back to her village, where her mother was waiting at the front door, worried. Her mother hugged her and asked her what happened. Little Red Riding Hood recounted the story, and the mother was so scared and guilty, for she had almost caused the child her death. That was the end of the story. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Kota. I'm not going to tell you the story about the rabbit and the turtle. Once upon a time, in the depth of the forest, there was a swift yet arrogant bunny. This bunny likes to race with other fellow forest animals just to prove that she is the fastest of them all. Contrary, there was also
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
So, hello, my name is 𝐒𝐜𝐡𝐨𝐥. I'm from Track Girls, and now I want to storytell about Manunggal. So, yeah. Once upon a time, there's a small family in the coastal area of West Sumatra. They have a boy named Manunggal. But because of their family's condition was very worrying, they cannot buy clothes, they cannot eat properly. So that's why Manung's father decided to go abroad, to the country across, to find a nice job. Manung and his mother wait for Manung's father to came back home with full of hope. They hope that Manung's father could bring a lot of money so they can buy a lot their daily necessities and repair their hut. But they wait for a month, but there's no sign of Manung's father coming. They were so disappointed. Well, and unfortunately, they begged to live in poverty. And Manung grew up became a handsome and sturdy man. And suddenly he thinks to find a job to the country across like his father. But unfortunately, his mother refused that. Oh, wait. Oh, come on, Mom. I will come back home. I promise. After I got a job there and earn so much money, I will change our life. He tried to convince his mother that he won't be like his father who was abandoned her. Are you sure, Manung? But promise me, okay? You will come back. I will miss you so much. After all, with a heavy heart, Manung's mother let her son to go to the country across. Okay, Mom, I promise. And yeah, Manung studied very hard, and he finally good at shipping. He became a successful and wealthy man. And then he met a girl, a beautiful girl, and then they fell in love and they got married. Manung's wife always wanted to go to Manung's hometown, but Manung always refused it. Oh, come on, Manung. You said that you have a great big house, as big as football field, with a backyard as time the size. This holiday, we have to go to your hometown. Okay, Manung, says Manung's wife. On the other side, Manung's mother always waited for her son to come back with full of hope. Day by day, month by month, year by year, but Manung never came back. Manung's mother very sad, and she was very worried about her son until she saw a man on the ship with a beautiful girl beside him, and the man looks like her son, who is like Kodam. She was very happy because finally she could see her son again. And then she ran and Manung, oh Manung, long time no see you. Where have you been? She said that with full of happiness. And Manung's wife says, Manung, who is she? Is she your mother? Oh my God! You said that your parents are rich. And then Manung's answered with, no, she's not my mother. I don't know who she is. My parents indeed are rich. Probably she's just a random old lady. Manung's mother was very, very mad. Manung, what do you mean? I'm your mother. I'm the one who raised you
is 𝐉𝐈𝐒𝐜. And then Manunggal went to the city for earn some money. And then 𝐉𝐈𝐒𝐜 starts to pray to God for him to come back sooner. After a few days, Manunggal captain who used to bring Manunggal. One day, did you know your son has been married to a beautiful woman? And then the next day, the ship has arrived. And 𝐉𝐈𝐒𝐜 see in the ship like, oh my God, there is my son. And then she hugged Manunggal like, oh my God, you just my son, right? And then Manunggal was shocked because her mom hugged him. And then Manunggal says like, you're not my mom. My mom's not like you. She's rich. And then Manunggal prayed to God. Dear God, if he is my son, if he is not my son, please forgive her. Please forgive his action earlier. If he's my son, please do your justice. Amen. And then cloud and sky and cloud starts turn into dark. And then Manunggal like gonjang ganjing. And the next day, 𝐉𝐈𝐒𝐜 see like a rock like Manunggal. Okay, maybe that's all.
Oke.
Mungkin langsung keluar dari mereka.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, my name is 𝐕𝐈𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐤𝐚 from 𝐕𝐈𝐒𝐤𝐚. I want to tell you about story titled Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldilocks. So when she went to the forest for a walk, pretty soon she come upon a house and she knocked the door 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. When no one answered, she just came in. At the table in the kitchen, there were 3 bowls of porridge. Goldilocks was hungry, so she tried the porridge from the first bowl. Oh my! The porridge is too hard, she said. So she tried the porridge from the second bowl. Ew, this porridge is too cold, she said. So she tried the porridge from the last bowl. Oh my gosh, this porridge is just right, she said happily and ate it all up. After she ate the three bears porridge, she feeling was tired, so she decided to walk into the living room where she saw 3 chairs. Goldilocks was sat in the first chair, and oh my gosh, this chair is too big for me. And she said, the Goldilocks sat into the second chair. Goldilocks she said, oh my gosh, this chair is too soft for me, she said. And Goldilocks sat into the third chair where, oh my gosh, this chair is just right for me, she said. But as she just settled down into the chair is broken into all pieces. Goldilocks was tired by this time, so she decided to go upstairs to the bedroom. Goldilocks lay down in the first bed, but it was too hard for me, she said. And then she decided to lay down in the second bed. Oh my gosh, this bed is too hard for me, she said. And then Goldilocks tried to lay down in the third bed, and it just was right for her. And then, while Goldilocks sleeping, the third bear came home, and then Papa Bear growled, "Someone been eating my porridge!" Papa Bear growled. And then Mama Bear said, "Someone been eating my porridge too!" The baby bear cried because his porridge is eaten by someone. Oh, someone been eating my porridge, and they ate all up. The 3 bears decided to walk into the living room. Papa Bear said, "Someone been sitting in my chair." Papa Bear growled. "Someone been sitting in my chair too," said Mama Bear. "And someone been sitting in my chair, but they got it broken," said the baby bear. The 3 bears decided to check some more and decided to go upstairs to the bedroom. The 3 bears were shocked. Someone been sleeping in my bed," said the Papa Bear. "Someone been sitting in my bed too," said Mama Bear. And someone been sleeping in my bed, but she's still there. Goldilocks was Just then, Goldilocks saw the 3 bears and woke up. She jumped out and ran out to the downstairs. And she opened the door and ran away into the forest. And she never returned to the home of the 3 bears in the forest. The end. Thank you very much, Teacher Wahyu. I'm sorry if there is a mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Teacher.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hi guys, today I'm going to tell you about the origin of the Bandung city. Once upon a time, there was a person with magical powers named Master Wisesa. Master Wisesa has a daughter named Sekar. And besides a daughter, he also has 2 students named Vira and Jaka. Dozens of years earlier, when Master Wisesa was still young, the Mount Tangkuban Perahu erupted. It makes many fatalities to the local communities and villages. And when Master Wisesa visited one of the village who got hit by the lava, he found 2 babies who got bereaved by their parents. And he took care of them and named them Vira and Jaka. Besides taking care of them, he also taught them various lessons. Not just martial arts, he also taught them about life wisdom. When Master Wisesa was not there, Vira kept practicing diligently and vigorously, while Jaka kept slacking off. One day, Jaka came to meet Master Wisesa and tell him that he wanted to marry his daughter, Sekar. But Master Wisesa accepted his proposal, but Sekar didn't. Sekar only wanted to marry Vira. Because of his daughter's answer, he took a stroll around the house and looked for the answer until he found the Mount Tangkuban Perahu was still erupting. The lava was still giving a threat to the local communities. And with that, he found a solution to the problem. He then called Vira and Jaka. Both of you, look at the Mount Tangkuban Perahu. Whoever could extinguish the lava, I will marry them to Sekar, said Master Wisesa. While Jaka thought that Master Wisesa's command was too ridiculous, Vira then found a solution to the problem. He then looked for water with large quantities, and with knowledge obtained from Master Wisesa, he tore down a hill near Cipinang River, and the overflowing water then flows into the hot lava, and then the lava basin then turned into a white lake, and that lake is called Bandung Lake. According to his promise, Master Wisesa then married Vira and Sekar. The wedding ceremony was held largely by inviting locals. A few years later, the Bandung Lake is receding and rise up, making it turn into a verdant land. Vira and Sekar then moved into the verdant land and make it into a paddy field. And they got good results. Not only Vira and Sekar moved into the verdant land,
The locals also moved into the borderland, and they farmed and got good results too. Wira then appointed to be a regional leader of the Bandung city, and then the borderland of the Bandung is now called the city of Bandung. That is all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is 𝐕𝐈𝐒𝐜, and today I would like to share a story about Snow White. Hopefully, you enjoy. Once upon a time, there is a little girl named Snow White. She lived with her mom and her dad. She lived with her aunt and uncle since her parents were dead. One day, she heard that her aunt and uncle were talking about leaving Snow White to the castle because they both wanted to go to America, but they didn't have enough money to take Snow White. Snow White didn't want her aunt and uncle to do this, so she decided it would be the best if she ran away. So the next morning, she ran away to a castle where her mom and her aunt and uncle were living with her. She ran away into the woods. She ran away into the woods and they found some little cottage. She knocked up. But no one answered. So she went inside and found. Meanwhile, the settlers were coming from after the war. They went inside and found Snow White sleeping. They found Snow White sleeping and Snow White woke. The dog said, "What's your name?" Snow White said, "Hi, my name is Snow White." "James," one of the dogs said, "if you wish, you may live here with us." Snow White said, "Oh, alright, thank you." And then Snow White and the dog became happy friends and they lived happily ever after together. That's all my video today. I'm sorry if I take message. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Sampai 2 menit video kayaknya.
Apa-apa. Ini lagi saya. Selanjutnya Aluna.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, teacher. I'm 𝐕𝐈𝐒𝐜 from 3F Girls. I want to tell you a story about the 3 pigs and a wolf. So, once upon a time, there was an old mother pig who had 3 little pigs and didn't have enough food to feed them. So, when they were old enough, she sent them into the world for them to seek out for their fortune. For the first little pig, he was so lazy that he didn't want to work at all, so he just built his house with straw. For the second pig, he worked a little bit harder, but he was somewhat lazy too, so they spent the rest of the day dancing, playing, and singing, and just like laying down and not doing anything. And then for the third pig, he worked so hard, so he built his house with bricks. It was so sturdy and complete with a fine fireplace, and it looked so strong that it could withstand even the strongest wind. So the next day, the wolf happened to pass down the lane and saw the first house made with straws. He smelled the pig inside, and he thought the little pig would make a mighty fine meal, and his mouth began to water. So the wolf knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in." But the little pig already saw his big balls through the keyhole. So he answered back, "No, no, no." So the wolf showed his teeth and said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." So he blew the house down. And then he opened his very big jaw and tried to bite as hard as he could, but the first pig already ran away and tried to hide with the second little pig. So the wolf continued to pass down the lane and saw the second house made of sticks.
smelled the little pig inside, and his mouth began to water as he thought what a fine dinner they would make. So the wolf knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in." But both of the pigs already saw his pointy ears through the keyhole. So they answered back, "No, no, no." And then the wolf said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. He opened his jaw, but the wolf was very greedy that he tried to catch both pigs at once, but he was too greedy and got neither. When he opened his jaw, he got nothing but air. And then the little pig scrambled away as fast as they could, as fast as their little hoofs could carry them. But when the wolf tried to catch them, the little pigs already made it to the brick house and slammed the door closed right before the wolf tried to catch them. The little pigs was very frightened. They knew the wolf wanted to eat them. And then the wolf was The wolf continued to pass down the lane and saw the brick house. He swore he was so full of rage, and he swore that he would eat all of them for his own supper. Then he knocked the door and said, "Little pigs, let me in." But the little pigs was so frightened to death that they tried to not see the wolf, but the wolf was just the wolf was too excited that he wanted to eat all of the pigs. Then he tried to climb on the roof of the bricks house. But the little pigs were onto something. They think that they would just make a blazing fire and put a pot full of boiling water. So when the wolf tried to come down the chimney, the little pigs opened the lid, and unfortunately the wolf fell down to the boiling water. So the little pig would just boil the wolf up and ate him for supper. The end. Thank you for listening to my story about a tale of the 3 pigs and the wolf. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
She screamed for help, and her grandma and her grandfather heard that, and they brought weapons to scare off the big bad wolf. But the big bad wolf wasn't scared at all. Instead, he was so hungry that he tried to eat the little red bread. The grandma and the grandpa started shooting at the big bad wolf until he was gone. But at the end, they ate the fruits and drinks in the basket, happily ever after. So that was all for my story. Thank you so much for listening. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Thank you, Aisyah.
Yes.
And Nesha? Is you ready?
Next. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So, my name is Lola, and today I'm going to tell you a common story titled Little Red Riding Hood. So, once upon a time, there was a little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her, but most of all, her grandmother, who gifted her a red velvet hood which suited her so well that she would never wear anything else. Hence, she was called Little Red Riding Hood. So, one day, her mother asked Little Red Riding Hood to bring a basket full of fruits to her old grandmother who lived in the village next over. which required the little girl to enter the woods. Upon entering the woods, Little Red Riding Hood stumbled across a hungry wolf who has an intention to eat her right here and there, but refrains because there were some hunters nearby. So instead, the wolf asked Little Red Riding Hood where she was going, and she replied that she was going to her grandmother's house. The wolf, being smart, thinks that if he followed Little Red Riding Hood to her grandmother's house, he will be able to eat 2 people instead of just 1. So he asked her where her grandmother's house is, and she replied that it was the first house in the village that's over. And then the wolf then said, "See, Little Red Riding Hood, there's some really pretty flowers around. Why don't we take a look around the woods?" Little Red Riding Hood stops and thinks for a moment and thought that it would be a great idea to bring her grandmother some flowers. So she set out up the path and into the woods to look for some flowers. Meanwhile, the wolf then ran straight into the grandmother's house and knocked at the door, pretending to be Little Red Riding Hood. The grandmother then opened the door, and the wolf then quickly jumped in and ate the grandmother. Meanwhile, the Little Red Riding Hood was running about in the forest picking flowers, when she then just remembered about her grandmother, and she set out on the way back to her grandmother's house. When she arrived, she was surprised to see the door wide open, and when she went in, she had this strange, uneasy feeling in her. When she called out, "Good morning," but no one responded. So she went into the house. She went into her grandmother's bedroom, and the wolf then suddenly appeared out of nowhere and ate her too. After the Little Red Riding Hood was eaten, a hunter then came along and heard the scream and decided to investigate. And then he found out that it was coming from inside of a house that has the door wide open. So he comes inside and found the wolf sleeping on the grandmother's bed. And then he heard screaming inside of the wolf's stomach. And believing it was a person, he decides to cut open the wolf's stomach with a pair of scissors. And when the wolf's stomach was cut open, Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother then come out of it, and the 3 of them filled the wolf's stomach with heavy stones. The heavy stones then weighed the wolf down, and unable to run, the hunter then shot the wolf, and the wolf then died. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother then thanked the hunter, and Little Red Riding Hood gave the hunter some of the fruits that she was originally going to give her grandmother, and then they all lived happily ever after. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kamu mau siap? Ikan itu. Baik.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Once upon a time, Alice is relaxing under a tree with her cat. She's bored simply because nothing exciting ever happens to her. All of a sudden, she sees the strangest thing. A speaking rabbit with a watch. I'm late for a very important date," he keeps repeating. He runs past Alice and then into a hole in the ground. Alice jumps inside the hole and gets to a tiny door. Through the keyhole, she sees the rabbit in a wonderful garden. But she's too big to fit through the door. She begins to cry. As she cries, she becomes smaller and smaller until she ends up in a river of tears. Alice swims to the door to the beautiful garden. She meets a mouse and a dodo bird, also swimming towards the door. They finally land in the wonderful garden, and the mouse and the dodo bird say goodbye and disappear. Alice spots the white rabbit and follows him inside his house. She drinks water from a glass and grows as tall as a tree. The white rabbit gives Alice a piece of cake, which makes the girl small once again. The rabbit runs off for the beautiful garden, and Alice runs after him. As she runs through the blossoms, the trees and shrubs, she sees a huge mushroom. On top of the mushroom, she sees a rather huge blue caterpillar. The caterpillar looks at Alice and asks, "Who are you? Where are you going?" Alice asks about the white rabbit, and the caterpillar informs her about a tea party. Alice arrives at the tea party and she meets the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. They both wear large hats, and the Hatter asks Alice why she doesn't wear a hat. Alice decides it's time to go since she has no hat. Alice arrives back again at the wonderful garden. 3 carts are painting the roses red. Why are you painting the roses red? Questions Alice. The queen hates white roses. We have to paint them red, or she'll cut off our heads. Alice hears noisy trumpet sounds and sees the queen entering the garden. The queen looks very angry and and shouts, "Off with her head!" Alice is about to reply to the queen, but she sees the white rabbit running towards her. "Wait!" shouts Alice. Where are you going? The rabbit runs towards a tiny hole in the ground, and Alice runs after him. She begins to fall and fall and fall. Alice awakens under a tree beside her cat. Alice shakes her head and says, "What a thrilling adventure. It was all a dream." The end.
Thank you, Nesya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I'm going to tell a story about the promised Neverland. I can't describe it, so yeah, let's just go to the story. Long ago, in an orphanage called Gracefield, surrounded by forest, three best friends, Emma, Ray, and Norman, were saying goodbye to their friend Connie because Mama Isabella said that she's going to be adopted. Mama Isabella picked up Connie to the big cave, but the children were forbidden to go there because Mama Isabella said that it's dangerous. And then Emma realized that Connie forgot her bunny doll, so she wanted to give Connie her bunny doll back. Emma and Norman went to the big cave and they saw a big truck. Emma was curious and she thought that maybe Connie was inside. Then she peeked a little and she was shocked because Emma saw Connie's dead body with flowers stuck on her chest. Then they heard a voice. Emma and Norman hid under the truck and they saw Mama Isabella talking to a demon about the truth of the orphanage. Emma and Norman gasped because they found out that the orphanage is a farm with the orphans as a livestock for the demons to consume. And Mama Isabella and the demons talked about the average age to deliver the children to the demons, which is around 12 years old and 6 years old. After that, Emma and Marin rushed to the orphanage and they told Ray about the truth. It turns out that Ray already knew about the truth, and he said that Emma and Marin have to accept their fate. But Emma and Marin didn't want to give up, so they arranged a plan to escape the grace field. And then they also told some of the children too about the truth of the orphanage. Day by day, they trained the children. They trained their friends to climb, to run, and some like hunting, and to learn about the plants and animals to survive the world outside. After that, they arranged the day to escape. But suddenly, Mama Isabella announced that Norman is going to be adopted, which was after his birthday, but before the escaping plan. But Norman had to escape the race field too. They can't leave Norman, so Emma and the children who was involved to the escaping plan were discussing about the plan. They thought that there's a betrayer among them, and the betrayer told Mama Isabella about the escaping plan, and Mama Isabella is trying to wreck the plan. Thank you for listening to my speech. This is just the halfway of the story, because if I told the whole story, it's going to be much more minutes to. Yeah.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Let me introduce myself. My name is 𝐕𝐈𝐒𝐜𝐿. I'm from 3F Girls, lower secondary, and I'm going to have my speaking test about Little Red Riding Hood. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a lovely little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She had this name because her grandmother gave her a little red hood, and she wore it every day. Her grandmother loved her very much. One day, her mother said to her, "Little Red Riding Hood, please take this basket to your grandmother. Don't dawdle along the way and stay on the path." "Okay, Mom, don't worry, I'll be careful," said Little Red Riding Hood. And then she set out on the way to the grandmother's. Her grandmother lived in a village at the other side of the wood. As Little Red Riding Hood entered the wood, a wolf met her. She had never seen a wolf before, so she didn't know the wolf was dangerous. "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood. My name is Wolf. Nice to meet you." "Hi, Wolf. Nice to meet you too." "Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?" "I'm going to my grandmother's house." "Where does she live?" "She lives in the village at the other side of the wood. Her house is the very first one in the village." And then the wolf walked by to the Little Red Riding Hood, and then he said, "Look at those pretty flowers. Why don't you get some for your grandmother?" And then Little Red Riding Hood looked and saw the pretty flowers. She walked up the path and then started picking a bunch of flowers for her grandmother. Meanwhile, the wolf ran quickly straight to grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who's there?" "Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf. And then the wolf said, I have some food for you. Please open the door, Grandma." And then as the grandmother opened the door, the wolf quickly jumped in and pushed grandmother into the closet. "Help! Please let me out," said the grandmother. "Be quiet and stay in the closet," said the wolf. And then the wolf put on grandmother's dress, cap, and glasses, and then got into grandmother's bed. After Little Red Riding Hood finished picking some flowers for her grandmother, she finally arrived at grandmother's house, and then she saw the open door. She called out, "Good morning," but there was no answer. So she slowly went to grandmother's room and then saw grandmother's lying on bed, but looking very strange. She said, "Oh, grandmother," she said, "what big ears you have. All the better to hear you with, my dear," was the reply. "But grandmother, what big eyes you have. All the better to see you with, my dear." But grandmother, what terrible big mouth you have. All the better to eat you with." And then the wolf jumped out and then tried to eat Little Red Riding Hood. She shouted loudly and tried to run away. Just then, a hunter passed by grandmother's house, and then she heard Little Red Riding Hood scream. So she went to the house and then said, "Go away, wolf," said the hunter. And then he pulled out his bow and tried to shoot the wolf. But then the wolf ran away. And then the Little Red Riding Hood and their grandmothers lived happily ever after. The end. That's all for my speaking test. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher. Yes.
Open and start in English. Do the best. Fatir.
It began with two sisters. One
Salam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bentar, bentar.
Ya.
Misal agak sedikit dijeda.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nadia from Makasar Girls, and today I will be storytelling about Frozen. It began with two sisters, one with magical powers and one without. One day, they were little, they were playing with magical powers when she accidentally struck Anna in the heart, which caused their parents to separate the two for years. Unfortunately, years later, they lost their parents in a shipwreck, which left their kingdom Arendelle with no king or queen. So when Elsa finally came to adult, they held a coronation for her to signify that she was finally Arendelle. But because this was the first time that it had been in years, Elsa's kinetic emotions mixed with her uncontrolled powers, the coronation was left with a very messy end. Elsa ran away, leaving it seemed like an eternal winter behind Arendelle, with snow covering every inch of land there was to see. And Anna, as her sister, she was obviously very concerned for Elsa, so she raced up the mountain with her sister to Elsa, where she met an odd guy named Kristoff and his friend. She asked him for help and eventually they became allies. Then we met a living, talking snowman named Olaf, which coincidentally looked a lot like Elsa and Anna's childhood snowman, who was also coincidentally called Olaf. Undoubtedly, Elsa conjured him up, which made them on the track. And as they journeyed further onto the tall, snowy mountain, they saw an ice palace. They entered the ice palace and they met Elsa there. They attempted to talk her out of it, to talk her into leaving this place and to lift the internal winter. But she didn't let her out, and she accidentally struck Anna in the heart again, which had finally done it for Anna, and her condition started quickly deteriorating. So Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven, they rushed Anna to Arendelle to get her some help. And as they rushed to Arendelle, the Arendellian soldiers found Elsa's ice palace as well. But instead of calmly pushing her, they attacked her and captured her, and they brought her to Arendelle, where they locked her herself. But this only made it worse, as Elsa's powers were even more wild. A snowstorm was brewing outside, and there were large ice shards growing in the palace. And Anna knew that this was the time that Elsa had escaped from herself. So Anna too raced outside to search for Elsa, even though she was very sick. Fortunately, when they finally met and had a chance to talk, Anna's condition was horribly bad. And Anna started quickly turning into an ice statue. And as she turned into this ice statue, Elsa started running everything. She was devastated at the loss of her sister because She cared for her sister and she loved her sister. But that sisterly love was the thing that helped Anna and Elsa heal. Anna slowly started defrosting and Elsa could finally focus on something other than her rage, which helped her lift the eternal winter from Anna and lift the ice from Anna. And as Anna defrosted and as everyone returned back to normal, finally the sisters were able to reunite and they finally had each other again. And those cold dark times have finally been replaced by the one happiness that they share, which is their love.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.